So what's next? Let's bring in Fox News contributor and former Assistant U.S. Attorney Andy McCarthy, along with former U.S. Attorney Brett Tolman. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. So, Andy, I want to come to you first. These, as Dagan mentioned, a couple guys that were fired. In the media, they're claiming this was a big nothing burger. Was the Durham report a nothing burger, or has it exposed the rot within the FBI and the DOJ?
I think it's done a great job building on the investigative work that had been done before. It's a good, comprehensive report. One thing it's not is partisan. So the great thing about what Durham does here, I think, is that he lets the witnesses and the documents sing for themselves. And I can't imagine that people are going to be too surprised to learn that basically people who were drummed out of the FBI on account of this episode, the shameful episode in the history of the Bureau, are upset that there's another report detailing what they were up to. What a shock.
Brett, I mentioned the cost in dollars, but what about the cost to the American people in what these losers were not doing while they were pursuing this phony hoax of an investigation against President Trump? The damage done to the divisions created in the United States. And Andy McCarthy has always said this: when you abuse powers granted to law enforcement meant to protect the United States, the American people will demand that those powers be taken away, and it ultimately harms the republic. But all of that, but what's the damage done that we can't quantify?
Dagan, thanks for having me on. I'll tell you, it makes me reflect back to 2003, 2004, when I was in the Senate and I listened to Jim Comey appearing as a witness, reassuring the public that the FBI and the FISA court expanding their power and authority would not be used against U.S. citizens. And now we fast forward, and if you look at both what Durham has revealed and then juxtapose it with what we now know has been going on by whistleblowers about the Hunter Biden investigation, you have on one side, you have a hoax being peddled and pushed as reality. And then on the Biden laptop, you have reality and corruption and crime being pushed as a hoax. How much confidence can the American people have in their government when we have given an expanded power and demanded less transparency and less accountability on all that power?
And I would say, to investigate an American president based on, really no evidence is shocking. And that these former employees aren't shamed is outrageous. But Brett, you mentioned this other investigation into Hunter Biden. Let's talk about that. The IRS has reportedly dismissed the entire investigative team looking into possible tax fraud by Hunter Biden. The whistleblower in the case is calling it retaliation for speaking out. So, Andy, is this retaliation? You have a whistleblower come forward, is going to talk to Congress. He's taken the right procedural steps. And now, lo and behold, the whole team is moved off the case. Is this retaliation?
Sean, it's not only retaliation. I think it's yet another iteration of what we can now talk about almost every single day, because something comes up like this every single day. And that is, from the first day that he was sworn in as Attorney General, Merrick Garland should have installed a special counsel on the Biden investigation. And I won't call it the Hunter Biden investigation. I'm talking about the Biden family corruption investigation. It is not possible in the credible world or in the government regulations for the Biden Justice Department to investigate the Bidens. And here they are now, basically blowing whistleblower provisions out of the water. But it's yet just another thing that happens in this investigation when you have a Justice Department that is hopelessly conflicted, tasked to do an investigation like this, which, if the shoe were on the other foot and these were Republicans, this wouldn't be tolerated for a nanosecond.
But because, Brett, it's Biden's Justice Department, there's no recourse, is there? And how does this maneuver with disbanding this team within the IRS impact at least the focus on Hunter Biden and what appears to be a wrap-up of that investigation by David Weiss within DOJ?
Yeah, Dagan, it is very rare to have a whistleblower in DOJ or the FBI or IRS. It doesn't happen. And so when it does, we all pay attention, but notice the reaction to it. It is arguably a fourth branch of the government, at least in their own eyes, reacting very swiftly to try to protect themselves. Mm-hmm. I would hope that there will be more. There are other people that have seen and observed and listened to the manner in which DOJ and other agencies have protected the Bidens. It needs to stop. We need to expose it. This is the bread and butter of a fraud and corruption case that any prosecutor and any investigator would be proud to dig into if you took politics out of it.
No doubt about that. Andy McCarthy, Brett Tolman, thanks for sharing your wisdom with us. We appreciate it.